Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame, and this is the recap review for Family or Fiance. So, this episode is about the couple, Monique and Sammy. They have been together, I think, 6 years. They got engaged around the 3 year mark, and they are here on this show because a lot of people cannot see why they're even together because it seems as though they have a hard time separating work from the personal. They are restaurateurs. He is like an executive chef, and she was like a general manager. And he ended up hiring her to come on at the restaurant. And they pretty much talk more business than anything. They go to work and come home, and it's all about work. They don't have sex that much. Like, I'm just like, why? um, it's great to build together, but you should be able to have boundaries and you should be able to separate the business from the personal. I don't think I could do that. Literally tried to have a moment where my ex and I worked together, and every time I turned around, he was mad because the things that I was used to, he wanted to change them. Like when I would go on my breaks, this person who was my friend at the time, we always sat together. He didn't like that she was sitting with us. Like it was just a lot of, it was just crazy stuff. Stuff that shouldn't even be that deep because I'm like, we're eating breakfast real quick and going back to work. Like, it ain't like we literally would sit there, like even when she left, we would sit there in silence. It ain't like we talking about nothing. It was stupid to me. And for me, I want to be able to work completely different area, place, all that from the person that I'm with, if at all possible, so that when I come home, I can decompress and not have to talk about that place unless I want to. And it can be a completely different experience when I'm talking to my partner about it. I don't know. I ain't here for it. If I can avoid it, I am not trying to be with somebody that work at the same place that I'm at. So yeah. So their families are coming. I think it's her son, her mother, and her sister. He has two daughters that are coming, and I think a cousin or a mama or something like that. Somebody's cousin or something came too. But yeah, he does not get along with like her sister. Off rip, they never got along. They don't like one another. Like it's to the point where he can't even hardly be cordial with her. He can't stand to be around her. Don't want to talk to her. She ain't here for him, and she like, I don't understand why they together. Uh, I think it's her. I don't remember if that's his mama. Somebody's mama is, like I don't, see how y'all can have a certain dynamic when y'all are always in work mode. You bring it home. Her son said that he wants, whenever they have arguments and disagreements and all the other stuff, to keep it between the two of them before they get married. If they're gonna get married, they need to figure out how to do that. The sister Connie, that he is not here for and she ain't here for him, she was just like, I just want to understand where I stand with him, and pretty much the same general consensus that everybody else has about the relationship. Like, I don't understand. Like, nobody can see where it begins or ends because it seems like it's 99% work. And it's like, okay, I don't think I can live like that. I don't think I can. So they ended up going into the office with Tracy to talk and discuss things. And we find out that he had a terrible upbringing. His family was very abusive, barely had food, and it was just a terrible upbringing. So he does not have a relationship like that with his family. He used to have a really, really close relationship with one of the daughters that's there. I think her name is Kiara. And she and Monique don't really get along that well. And it's probably because of his relationship with the new person that's in his life. He was in the confessional and he said that when she turns 16, it's like the love just was different. It's like their relationship went in two different directions, and I'm just like, for her to be a daddy's girl, I don't know. Now I've had some moments where my daddy has said some things, and I understand it was out of love, but it's like in my mind, I'm just like, but you my daddy though. Why would you say that to me? So I would understand if something like that happened, but it just seemed like another woman came in and she felt like, oh, I was the one getting all of this attention or whatever, but now I'm not. But I ain't gonna lie, she did have a moment where she expressed and gave an example of how they used to be able to have great conversations and all that, but now they don't. She wants to just be able to at least sit down and have a nice conversation, like be able to just talk and get through moments like that, to have that bonding time. And that's awesome. Like, I understand that. I'm here for that. So we gonna see where it go. But he has been tasked with what ifs. So they're gonna sit down, they're gonna write questions of different scenarios and discuss it. And with his family, Monique is going to do, I think it's called, what is it? Some kind of drinking, where it's gonna be conversations, and I forgot the word, but anyway, they're gonna be drinking and they're gonna talk and have questions and all the other good stuff. So that's what that's gonna be as far as they're concerned. So what Monique had to do, it was like called Cocktails and Conversations, or Conversations and Cocktails, something like that. But anyway, ultimately everybody had to like write down questions and she had to answer them. So his daughter, who he has had a strained relationship with, asked her, "Do you like me?" And she was like, "Wait a minute, who asked this?" And she had to let her know, like, "Yes, I like you. Like, I can't believe you asked me something like this." But the daughter just felt like something was going on, and maybe she was the issue, and that's why she wasn't getting a certain type of vibe from her. But yeah, she had to reassure her that she likes her. Like, wait a minute, what you mean? Do I like you? As far as the questions that were asked of him, he actually was reciprocating. And the biggest takeaway from that was that he was just like, look, if we move away to a foreign country, like, how y'all gonna feel about that? Because he seems like he wants his fiance all to himself, and that nobody else can have access to her. And that is a major issue, because the sister Connie is like the closest thing to her, when he should be the closest thing to her. Yeah, we're gonna unpack that in a minute, but yeah, it's a lot. But it's like everything that he was asking, like, he's just the type of person, he feel like everybody just roll up when they want to. Everybody just wants their access, and they just have access to her at all times. And so he's like, well, if you can't have access to her, pretty much was all his questions. If you can't have access to her, or you can't have access to us, then what y'all gonna do? If we leave the country, then what? If we do this, then what? I was just like, but everything went well with Monique, because the only other real thing that they asked about was, how do they separate the personal from the business? And, just like I said earlier, I would not be able to do that. I don't want to talk about work all day. I want us to have our intimate time. Yeah. I was very disturbed by something that he said, which was when he was asked, do you think that you need more intimacy in your relationship? He said he feels like the business is intimate enough, and that he good where he at. Like, he lived for what, I understand you living for what you are passionate about, what you know that you were meant to do. But when it comes to love and relationship, at this point, it's like, well, you might as well be yourself and just have your cut buddy or something. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, y'all help me out. I know that I don't know everything. I know I am not the smartest person that ever lived. But help me to understand that, because that type of logic, I'm just like, y'all are barely doing anything that signifies that y'all are even in a relationship. I'm trying to even understand how marriage even popped up. I don't understand how they are even deemed to be dating. Like, I don't understand. Everything is just all about work. So I'm like, how? I'm very confused. Y'all excuse me, I was eating pecans. So I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, it's just very interesting. So the next task is for him to have a one-on-one conversation with his daughter. But before he can even do that, he had to somewhat unpack some stuff because of his strained relationship growing up. He feels as if his daughter is weak and he don't want his daughter to be weak, and it's just a lot. We're gonna get to the specifics of that, but they had to try to help him to understand, like, okay, wait a minute, she's not weak. Like, what are you talking about? He basically was seeing himself in his daughter, a young version of himself. He says out of his own mouth that she is the female version of him. So, like, in a sense, I get it, but it's like, whew. Her task was to talk to her sister and let her know that there are going to be boundaries that are going to have to happen, and that she cannot be the primary person anymore, because she does not really have any place for her man to be. Like, everything that she should be able to depend on her fiance for, she goes straight to her. There was an instance where they were talking in the confessional, y'all. They talking in the confessional, where he brought up the fact that his fiance took on a task of writing a letter to a rental agency or somewhere where she was trying to get a property or whatever, because whatever she was doing wasn't working, and she just knew that she would be able to get the job done if she wrote the letter. He just felt like she was doing the absolute most. He was just so sick and tired of it. And so he done stormed off. She was like, wait a minute, where are you going? Like, this is all over a letter? Like, what? Like, it was very confusing. But this was just a part of the process where he was just like, I feel like y'all doing too much. Like, why she got to be in your space all the time? It's like, I don't have you. I don't have time with you. They have all this time with you. That's not fair. So on one hand, I get it, but I was just like, oh my. So yeah, he actually ends up being in the office with Tracy while he's talking to his daughter. They unpack everything, and I don't know. Y'all excuse me, I'm exhausted. When I didn't go to sleep like I was supposed to because I was watching that live yesterday, it messed me up. But anyway, they started to unpack, and it was just a lot. And I don't know if she like lost her virginity or something happened to her, but he said that he kept misinterpreting the shame that she felt in whatever moment happened when she was 16 years old with her being weak. And it's okay that you feel shame, but know that I still love you. Like, it's not your fault. You're not weak. And I'm just glad he had a breakthrough moment, because she was just like, it just got to a point. He said that for whatever reason, when whatever that was that happened to her happened, he hugged her afterwards, and it just felt completely different. They both felt the same way. Like, the hug wasn't the same. She felt like she really didn't even know if he even loved her no more. And she just felt like he definitely did not love her the same after that moment. After she was 16 and that whatever instance happened, it was just completely different. The bond was not the same at all. They were not close like they used to be anymore. That's crazy. But they ended up having a moment. They were crying. They were hugging. Told one another they love each other. So Monique sat down with her sister Connie, and they were discussing things, and she had to explain to her that she's been her primary, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. And Connie acted as if she understood in the moment what was going on, and she was like, well, wow, I've actually dated guys, and they've said the same thing. And she really acted like she understood what was going on. Well, when she got back to the house, her mama asked what was discussed. She told her. They were in the middle of going back and forth about it, and you could tell that she was very upset about it, which is a part of the process, because it really dawned on her, like, wow, like, wait, like, I feel like you're putting me out the pasture. So, it is a part of the process, but it's going to be an adjustment that it's not going to go well, as you will find out in a moment. So anyway, they've had their great moments. Everything went well. Okay, so everybody is gonna get ready for the blessing ceremony, and most people said they give their blessing. Her mama said no. I couldn't tell if the sister said yes but no, but definitely her mama said no, and it pretty much everybody else said yes. And I was like, no. Everybody should have said no. But the thing is, I feel like because, like I've mentioned before, if people could see what was happening throughout the episode so they can get all the vital information, they would know which direction they really need to go into. Because most of them folks don't understand all this trauma that this man went through in his life when he was a child. He has never really opened up to his fiance. That's terrible. She don't even know nothing about you. Like he pretty much told her the bare minimum was like, I went through it as a child. The end. I don't want to talk about it no more. And she was like, all right, that's pretty much what it sounds like happened. So he was very, very scared to even have that conversation initially with his daughter, and even starting to work on building his relationship pretty much from the ground up, in my opinion, with his fiance, because she didn't even know nothing about him. Like, it's like, he's talking about, it's just some terrible stuff. It's just bad. It's just so dark. And I feel like it's going to tear us apart if I bring it up, if I tell you about these things. And it's like, she was, he left out the room and everything. So she was like, so what are we going to do? We going to stay at the surface? Like, and he made a point to say that they've gotten through business things together. He knows how to navigate business, but he's never had to navigate in a way like that for a relationship. And it's going to be a lot. They've gone through a lot as far as business is concerned, because everything about them is business. So this is going to be very, very, very new for them if they make it, because I don't, judging by the way that he's acted, I don't feel like he's ever had a real relationship before. Because if you all about the business, then you ain't even doing what you needed. She don't even know. Like, my thing is, she should know your triggers. She should know your love language. She should know all of this stuff. But y'all are so business oriented, and that's it, that it's like, I honestly don't understand how they even say that they are in a relationship and why they got engaged. I don't understand. And like, one of the questions that somebody did ask was, if she wanted to go down a different career path, would there be a problem with that? He said that he's told her that if she ever wanted to, switch it up, then by all means do what you want to do. But I don't know. Apparently she's really amazing at her job, and we will see if that happens. We'll see. But yeah, y'all, that was pretty much the episode. What they did say was, which is sad, is that her relationship is strained with her sister Connie, but his relationship has gotten a whole lot better with his daughter, Kiara. They are doing well relationship-wise, so that's good. So hopefully they will continue to thrive. I love to see it. Like, I mean, hopefully, as I always say, hopefully y'all are not taking this as me taking digs at these people or trying to read them. It's just the way that these things are coming off, and the obvious things that have been unearthed it's just eye-opening to the point of where it's like, can you really say y'all are in a relationship? Like, wow. Like, they really are about to start over from scratch, because they don't even know each other. And he's just wanted to be possessive over her because of his upbringing. But it's like, you cannot live your life like that. Anyway, y'all, I done talked enough. I hope y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all later on.